All right, let's dive right in. We're going to explore a thought experiment today that's, well, it's so powerful it might just reveal your entire life's philosophy. And it all gets right down to one single, really urgent question.
So, I want you to take a second, and I mean really think about this. The clock is ticking down, 30 seconds left. What are your final words? It's a heavy question, right? And for the person whose story we're going to unpack today, the answer he came up with was completely unexpected.
So let's get into the story behind this question. The thing is, this whole journey, it didn't start with some big, grand philosophical quest. Nope. It just began with a simple exercise in a book. And that one little exercise sparked this incredible moment of clarity. And it ended up unearthing a personal philosophy he didn't even realize was in there. Okay, so to really get the message that came out, you first have to understand the guy's, well, his leitmotif. Think of it like his personal mantra, his core belief that shows up again and again. And it's this: life is a gift we must unwrap at every moment. You got to remember that, because that one idea, it's the foundation for everything that's about to come out in those 30 seconds. And you know, that context is everything. This wasn't some polished manifesto he'd been working on for years. Not at all. It was a raw, totally unfiltered reaction to that one single prompt. 30 seconds on the clock, what do you say? And the answer that came out, it even surprised him. So a message is born. And get this, that single 30-second burst of writing, it was so powerful, so complete, that it instantly became the blueprint for something way, way bigger. It wasn't just a message anymore. It was literally a book just waiting to be written. So what do you think actually came out in that half minute? A couple heartfelt sentences? One piece of advice? No way. What poured out of him was 28. 28 distinct points. Can you believe that? In just 30 seconds, an entire, structured life philosophy was born. A whole roadmap, just captured in this one intuitive flash. In fact, every single one of those 28 points was so powerful, so potent, that each one became its own chapter in a planned book. The title? 28 jours à vivre, which means 28 days to live. I mean, just think about that journey for a second. From 30 seconds of peer pressure to a 28-day guide for living a better life. Amazing. And here's the kicker. He said he never reworked that original text. Looking back on it, even 2 or 3 years later, he realized everything was already there. It was perfect as it was, untouched, unedited. It just goes to show you what kind of clarity can pop up when you're forced to get straight to the point, right? All right, so this is the 28-point legacy. Let's dig in and see what exactly was in that message. What are these core principles that came flying out in just half a minute? Okay, so the message starts with these 4 huge ideas. First up, enjoy your life to the fullest. Simple enough. But here's the twist. Live for yourself with others. See the difference? Your happiness should also contribute to the happiness of those around you. And then you create your own happiness and you help others create theirs. It all ties back to that core idea, right? Unwrap the gift of life at every single moment. Next up is this really powerful warning against, the trap of always wanting more. The message is basically realize what you already have. Because let's be honest, the things we think we desperately want today, they don't necessarily make us any happier tomorrow, do they? Okay, this next part is where philosophy turns into action. It's all about moving past just wanting things. It's about asking what's truly important to you, and then, and this is crucial, moving from just having an intention to taking real, concrete action. You gotta be the one to transform your dream into reality. You are fully responsible for your life. And what's at the very core of this whole philosophy? It's what he calls your great power. Free will. That's it. It's your ability to choose how you react, to change the things you can, and, just as important, to accept the things you can't. Ultimately, the message wants us to see life as a kind of game. And in this game, happiness isn't some random prize you win. No, it's something you actively create. It's something you build, piece by piece, with every choice you make, every action you take, and the perspective you decide to have. And after all that, all the philosophy, all the big ideas, it all comes down to this. The message ends with the simplest, most powerful, and most human words you can say. I love you. Thank you for being part of my life. Because when you've only got seconds left, that's what truly matters, isn't it?
But that begs a pretty big question, right? If this message was so powerful, why on earth did he keep it hidden for years? Well, that brings us to this idea of unearthing a gem and the battle between hesitation and realization.
You know that internal debate we all have? It was a classic case. One voice was saying, it's a personal project. It's not part of my business. It's not finished. Perfectionism was holding it back. But then, a much stronger realization hit him. It was actually selfish to keep this to himself. The real gift wasn't some perfectly polished book. It was the raw, helpful message itself.
Now, as he was sharing this whole story during an interview, the interviewer had the perfect word for it. She called these insights pépites, which is French for gems or nuggets. And that's exactly what they are. These aren't things that come out of a marketing meeting or a business plan. No, we're talking about things that come from the depths. And right there, in that moment of sharing, he had this realization. The interview itself was helping him unearth a gem that he'd kept buried for over a year. It's such a powerful reminder, isn't it? Sometimes it's only by sharing our ideas with the world that we finally get to see their true value for ourselves. And that brings this whole thing right back to you. We all have these gems, right? These messages and ideas that are born from our own unique lives. And maybe you're thinking yours isn't perfect yet, or you're just waiting for the right moment to share it. But what if right now is the moment? So I'll leave you with this question. What is the message that you are waiting to share?